A while ago, right after I did the Ozzy Osbourne run, I was recommended to try and do a Chester Bennington run. Two things came to mind. The first is that I didn't find a microphone or a mic stand weapon mod. The second is that a Shouts run has already been done in Skyrim, by the best. Then, I found something that would not only make for an interesting question, but also for a slight double tribute. The Lone Dovahkiin, Dragon Shouts in Fallout. Links in the description, and so with no weapons, perks or chems, the only restriction is that I can only damage enemies using shouts. And so, can you beat Fallout 4 by only using shouts? I failed miserably in the character creation at making Chester, and made terms with the fact that going forward, we just so happen to share the same name and a passion for shouting. So, as we're balding and with the charisma of a screaming goat, there will be no need to worry about critical hits, VATs, carry weights, or even experience. So with 10 in endurance and 3 in everything else for the special, the tale of another park that's slinking begins. And you know how it goes.
War never changes.
You're gonna knock him dead at the Veterans Hall tonight, hun.
Because of your family's service to our country, you have been pre-selected for entrance into the local vault. Vault 111.
How are the two most important men in my life doing? Spin the mobile a bit. He loves that.
Sir, Mum, you should come and see this.
Codsworth? What's wrong?
I took Nora on a date, tried linking with a vertebrate on a park, we watched a beautiful sunset.
Oh my god!
Got matching blue outfits, and in the end, it doesn't even matter.
The pod will decontaminate and depressurize you before we head deeper in the vault. Just relax.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
A tickle to the wife, and a weird dream later, and if I had a penny for every time a character comes out of a fridge in Fallout, I'd have 2 pennies, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Maidenless and with only one foolish ambition to put to rest, it's time to become the usual loot goblin, starting with the wedding ring. Nora's done using it, it's made out of gold. I figure 210 years is more than enough. Time to grief plus inflation could only have made it more valuable. As for the shouts, they are not in the vault, and you cannot get the Pip-Boy to open the vault door with the rat roaches coming after you. To solve this, we're gonna do the same thing you do to a 2 in the morning after going to a bar. You get her to follow you, then you close the door, put yourself in fetal position and wait until the noise stops. As shame becomes relief, you finally grab the Pip-Boy, take a deep breath, and embrace the hot sun. A barrage of content creation quests followed suit, an idea so unfathomable that only serves to remind us that we said New Vegas with patches. And Todd Howard said, no worries, $150 a statue, and we'll include some you can put on your jacket. We'll even throw in more paid mods on Fallout 4's yet another version since you keep buying these. This made me want to write a shotgun joke, but this ain't about Kurt Cobain. And if I'm going to think of a rope one, it might take me a while to find something that's not too offensive, so until then, you're just gonna have to hang in there. Anyways, shouts. The mod outright says that they're not balanced. I'm just happy they exist, and we've got Become Ethereal, which will make us invincible for a bit, but will be unable to use other shouts, forget combos. Band Will puts the targets on our side. Disarm's self-explanatory, Dragon Rand is for vertebrates, Fire Breath and Frost Breath also self-explanatory. Self-Form to freeze the target in place, or a Whisper detects life, Slow Time, or a Jet. Teleport to wherever we're looking, and Unrelenting Force. The iconic Fus Ro Dah. There's also options, so you can tweak them a bit, but I'll leave everything as it is. Curious like a cat, I made a beeline to the rat roaches in Sanctuary to test the attack wins. And it seems that Fus Ro Dah doesn't do damage, but it looks extremely powerful. I wonder, if we send someone high enough, will they perish from fall damage? As for Fire and Frost Breath, they completely obliterate the rat roaches, but they are just rat roaches. So, to try and balance things out a bit, I've decided that I cannot use perks during the entire run, and that I can only choose a handful of shouts instead of being a jack of all trades. I'm gonna stick with Fire Breath, Frost Breath, and Become Ethereal. And if I really need to, I'll allow myself to have another one later. Back to the run, I got everything that was useful in Sanctuary, like junk for later, the 2 gold bars, the Grognak magazine. I used the Your Special on my strength for the carry weight, said hi to Codsworth, went for a jog, and met a good boy. I sent dog meat to Sanctuary, one hit the Bloodbug hatchlings, and decided that Preston won't be marked in my quest log. Just a little revenge for a change. Past Concord, trash can Carla, Preston's Diamond City on my map.
Just keep going until you see the skyline. Cross the river.
And in the Drumlin Diner, we're off to a bad start, cause I'll just show you. Not only did I not take them down, I lost my head. I guess the tiny grenade icons aren't just there for show, and these are actually modified grenades. Ones that apparently won't hurt our Dragonborn unless he stacks them. When they go off, we are immune to them. But when they're shot at or blown up, maybe it just defaults into a regular grenade? I don't know, I'm just trying to make sense of it. I also didn't quick save, so before going back to them, and after walking past Concord again, I decided to go for the loot near the billboard when a couple raiders showed up to Makarla. TLDR, the breaths are ridiculously strong and unrelenting force is hilarious. It also turns out that I'm a bit of a glass cannon instead of the powerhouse I thought I'd be. But with only a Nuka-Cola shirt, yeah. Trudy throws a few cups my way for helping her out, and I see a Mr. Gutsy.
Out! This area is under martial law by order of Provisional Governor Graham. Chinese infiltrators are known to be operating in this area. Please provide proof of your identity. Be advised that I am authorized to use deadly force if you fail to comply.
The Great War has been over for 200 years.
That is exactly what Chinese spies always say.
Well, this didn't work out. I might have to retitle this, Can I Beat Something That You Could? A Song of Fire and Ice later, and the second attempt went much better. I thought about checking the nearby house that is a hotspot for random events just to see if it had anything to do with Mr. Gutsy. Instead, I was enlightened on sandwiches.
Look, man, I've been thinking about this for a long time. I know what I'm talking about here.
Bullshit. You can't just put something between 2 pieces of bread and claim it's a sandwich. Does that mean a loaf of bread is technically a bread sandwich?
Technically, yes, but you wouldn't eat it all at once like that, so it doesn't matter. How you hold it matters.
Talk all you want, man. You put that piece of Mirelurk meat between 2 pieces of bread, but it still ain't a sandwich.
Well, what the hell would you call it then?
Disgusting. That's what.
I'll one-up them. If you shape 2 patties into buns and put one in the middle, is that a single or a triple hamburger? In Diamond City, Piper's shouting at a wall. Fitting. I'm just gonna let her be. I've decided to go and get map markers so I wouldn't have to be running around like a headless chicken in the mid to the endgame by doing it now. Couple mongrels showed up and Fus Ro Dah feels like bullying enemies. All of the damage is psychological, and everyone else not pressing the key will be judging you for it. Fire breath puts them out of their misery, and I gotta test this on Swad. Holy! And that was the last time I've seen him. No experience gained, so somewhere in the Commonwealth, there is a behemoth gaining conscience through the power of... What the fuck just happened? After getting Park Street Station on my map, I made it to Good Neighbor, where Finn's neither being good or neighborly.
Hey, hold up there. First time in Good Neighbor? You can't go walking around without insurance.
I did discover something else that I can't even explain. I know I hit Finn, and only Finn. And I know that because I've already missed the Mr. Gutsy by a tiny bit. How is Hancock flying? Empathy? Third attempt went smoothly. Finn's still aggroed, out of bounds. He's been banished to the unloaded void that the towns use instead of having to load the entire Commonwealth. And no one's shooting me, cause I wielded down my, voice. And Hancock won't even talk to me. So I'll just leave the anarcho-librarians to be and keep on going. The Freedom Trail leads us to jumping dogs, flying ghouls, and tumbling super mutant suiciders. You know that feeling when the mutant starts to chase you and you move forward a bit as if it's gonna make you faster? That was me just now. Let me guess, not a single unique experience. At the end of the red bricks, I decided to get into the Old North Church, because there's something in there that we can do right about now. After barbecuing some ghouls, I gotta test the unrelenting force on the railroad before they turn on the lights. Huh. It seems that will only turn them off for me. Desdemona's in shock that someone found their headquarters. It's not like she put a ton of holotapes trying to recruit people all over the Commonwealth. Or that their password is password. Deacon vouches for us, cause obviously, normal people don't just do that.
He made it down here, right? Normal people just don't do that.
Gosh, this feels like receiving a participation prize in a competition you didn't even attend. Anyways, they like toasters, I like toasts, and they are the only ones that can decode something we'll need for the main quest, so we compromise. And once I get one last map marker, we'll be going over tradecraft with Deacon. The way to the glowing sea was a breeze, and on the glowing sea, I'm pretty sure I caused a hurricane. It's raining Deathclaws, it's raining rat scorpions, and I want to meet Virgil early. See what he says. In the crater of Atom, Isolde doesn't have the option to talk about Virgil, cause in the game's eyes, we do not know that he exists. The rat scorpion apparently followed me into their settlement, so I helped him move to another continent in the most beautiful way possible. Peak trick shots, and in Virgil's cave, he's not there. So, microwaved his Protectron and made it back to Deacon. Mr. Tries Too Hard to Be Mysterious shows us one of his many disguises, invites us to watch the sunset on an overpass and gives us a lesson on stupid along the way. Did you know that the railroad uses an arrow to point the direction where they are? Oh, but it's inside a compass rose, so it's code language now.
The arrow in the center indicates a direction.
Gee, Deacon, thanks. Here I was, thinking it was a triangle laying down with his huge, unerect schlong. I froze a couple ghouls, told Ricky that my Geiger count's in the shop. You know, the Geiger count shop. Okay, no, I'll let this one slide. Plenty of people can do repairs. Anyways, the Institute attacked the railroad's former HQ, and our task is to go check on it. Some mongrels learned to fly for nothing else but my own amusements, and I've decided to go through the front door for a change. I'm really digging the frost breath, make it to the basement, and remembered why I had no memory of going through the elevator. It's cause it's locked. At least the exit is cleared now, and so through the sewers we go. Along the way, all railroad members we see are dead. All synths we encounter get one shots. So much so that I nearly died from not looking at my health bar. That was close. And in the end, we enter a vault. Not a Vault-Tec vault, just a good old safety one. I got the prototype that Carrington wants, Deacon offers me one of his buddies' unique weapons, the Deliverer, and my memory gets refreshed once again when a mine has me cosplay as a puzzle. Desdemona now accepts us, and with that, it's time to get the main quest going. I went straight to Park Street Station, kept discovering that I am my own worst enemy, and thought it would be pretty funny to use the unrelenting force on Dino. I'd like to believe he enjoyed vault diving as much as Nick enjoyed getting freed. I also got the speech bobblehead, and for yet another stupid idea. The second I got to the door that would have me and Nick confront Skinny Malone, I just spammed the frost breath to see what would happen. We won without them even uttering a single word. Nick was investigating if the floor was indeed made of floor. I offered him a traffic cone, and in Diamond City, Piper's broken.
Right now! I know you're listening, Danny. Open the gate.
All she wants is for Danny to open up the gate, which he has. Oh, and that's another traffic cone, not the same one. No reason, other than I didn't have the map marker, and I saw one on the run back. Oh, and thanks to Piper being broken, so is the mayor. It was good to see her at least walking, but she kept insisting.
Open up. I know you're listening, Danny.
In Valentine's Detective Agency, I told Nick all about Nestla's cousin. Bald, scarred, shooter of wives, kidnapper of infants. Turns out, a man that fit the same description used to live here in the city. But to get into his house, we need to get a key. So I went to the mayor's office and pickpocketed it. We then go on to find that Mr. Kellogg has quite a distinct taste in both beers, bullets, and cigars.
Time to hit the road.
Might as well, since the road to Kellogg's unskippable, and we're gonna need him for the main quest. Our good boy will be the one sniffing Kellogg's belongings to lead us from clue to clue. But before going back to the road, we see a commotion in the center of the market.
What have you done with the real Riley?
Kyle thinks his brother has been replaced by a sim. I thought fire breath could have been fun to test, and it was. The game doesn't think that I did it, so no one attacked me. Good to know. I got me some loot, and so the journey began. Dogmeat first led us to some San Francisco sunlights. We were attacked by some mole rats, saw a bloody rag, then a Yao Guai, some more cigars, a couple ghouls, an Assaultron that cannot feel its legs, another rag, and I decided that I wouldn't progress until I scored 3 points. After lollygagging, we finally reach Fort Hagen. Dogmeat will be the one to stay behind. Nick's coming with, cause we'll have to discuss our findings with him anyway. The turrets are not being affected when I attack them from below. I'm pretty sure it one-shot one of my shouty grenade breaths, and so like a 2D projection of a 3D plane, I learned to keep my attacks on the space-time dimensions that I was forced to. Both the turrets and the synths had the same fate. Except for that one ceiling turret before the elevator. That one was a pain. You gotta be way closer to it to be able to hit it. After going down, Kellogg's taunting us. I just kept on mowing every single defense he set up, and that's when it hits him.
Okay, you made it. I'm just up ahead. My synths are standing down.
No, I didn't mean the realization. The frost breath, or 3. Dude actually tanked the few. Good for him. I got his cybernetic augmentations, his unique pistol, took care of a remaining synth that I thought had become collateral damage, went to the terminal, opened the door, got the useless Robco magazine, and went outside to see the Pridwin in its full glory. As in, I forgot to do the one thing I should've, to click on the terminal's log so the main quest could proceed. Shame. Shame! Back to Diamond City, Pepper's back to being a normal NPC. I did the interview with her, wondered why the hell she wasn't discussing our findings, and asked Valentine for his thoughts.
Your thoughts?
He was polite. So polite, he could have just told me that I'm an idiot. Eventually, I pulled up the quest log and realized it. Made it back. We talked about how the Institute was behind it after all. And when I made it back to DC, I cooked Kathy. Fuck Kathy. Piper and Nick recommended me to try the memory den in Good Neighbor. Hancock is no longer broken, though the game thinks that Hancock killed Finn, simply because it wouldn't register as doing it, and well, those are the two options in the game's eyes. In the den, Amari expected a brain. We wired the cybernetics through Nick, since he's a synth, in the hopes that Amari's tech would be able to decode it through his. And it worked. These also don't matter until the very end, so I'm just gonna skip to it. A Corsair teleports to Kellogg's old home. A kid's with him, and when they leave, we hear the name Sean. Not only have we been blessed by the gods of convenience, but we now know that we only need teleportation. Man, if only I had a shout that was called teleport. Nick talked to Kellogg for a bit.
Hope you got what you were looking for inside.
Kellogg? Is that you? What?
Immediately forgot about it, and so I let him leave. I also shouted at Hancock and froze everyone, cause why not? And since they didn't much care, I froze them some more. In Virgil's cave, Virgil thinks we're from the Institute and that we're working with Kellogg. I explained to him that Zed's dead, baby, and he agrees to grab some crayons to design schematics for the teleporter, but there's one little issue. It won't work unless we get our hands on a Corsair chip. From the CIT ruins to Green Attack genetics is but a jog. And here, I'm just gonna use Become Ethereal to get to the Corsair. It's gonna be easy, right? Right? I died. Plenty of times. First, even after the effect goes away, you still look like a ghost, so you think you're immune to damage when you aren't. Now, there is a slight difference to it, so it's on me. But to be fair, it's my first time using that shout, so. And mistake number 2 was me not having realized before that while I'm ethereal, not only can I not use other shouts, but it also cancels our immunity. Then the missile guy didn't help, but alas. We've made it to Z2. A session of frozen spam later, I got me the chip. Thought it would be mean to leave the synth locked up, so I freed her from all of her carnal needs. Back to Desdemona, all I want is for her to tell Tinker Tom to decode the chip. Meanwhile, she starts one of the many speeches that I'll have to go through. Eventually, she shut up, Tinker Tom did his thing, and the deal's simple. We get the data, they get the chip. And that's fine by me. Virgil has the schematics ready, the railroad agrees to help me build the teleporter, and right when I was about to talk to Tinker Tom, he ignores me so he can take a nap. There was a casual casualty, he threw in some made-up mumbo-jumbo, and long story short, I was missing aluminum. Oh, and it was only after the reflector platform was built that Trashcan Carla showed up, so, you know, booked her some holidays. To her Brahmin too. Tinker Tom and Des showed up in Sanctuary. I finished the teleporter. We all know NPCs in these games are the reason why there are chairs in hotel rooms, and we finally get to dematerialize and pretend we're still the same person after teleportation. Inside the one part of the Commonwealth that's actually neat, tidy, and clean, the saga begins to unfold. Father talks to us father to father, says we've got the wrong impression and that we should only judge them after we look around. And then we see Sean. We're finally here. He's calling out for us.
Father, help me!
The boy was a bit distressed, so I asked Father for 2 more minutes, and the game didn't like that at all. Anyways, yeah, Sean's not Sean. Sean's a synth. And Father's not Father. Father's the son, Sean. Just like we're not really the Dragonborn, we're just on a midlife crisis, but after going through all this shit, who wouldn't? So I say we are perfectly healthy. My first idea was to destroy the entire institute, but I dropped that real quick. I just couldn't deal with Father. Fire and Frost Breath simply wouldn't take him down, and Fus Ro Dah wouldn't make damage. So we're just gonna be playing along. I used the terminal in the real Sean's room to upload the network holotape that Tinker Tom asked me to, was finally able to progress after seeing Sean a bit bugged from all the commotion, and became finally free to go on and meet all the division heads of the Institute. But first, I'm gonna meet Liam, a synth that not only wants to escape, but to rescue all the other synths. And man, these are the best toasters I've ever seen. Couple software updates, some iterations, and you'll be having the best grilled cheese you ever had. What I completely forgot about when I thought about siding with the Railroad, the faction I like the least for obvious reasons, is that, well, you gotta do a ton of Institute quests. Whatever. But yeah, so we're supposed to pretend that language models hold the same value as a human life. Look, I get the counter-arguments. It just doesn't make it less stupid. The way I see it, if I can power you off and upgrade or reset your software, then no. You're no different than Curie. And that's just an example. Anyways, after talking with Z1 and Liam some more, we learned that we're gonna need to get some access data. And so I go on to meet Madison Lee, who installs a teleport signal to my Pip-Boy, then Clayton, Ali, and Justin, because I'm obligated to. Back to the Railroad, Desdemona makes yet another speech, then forces me to write some BS paperwork. And we can finally be on our way to the Cambridge Polymer Labs, where we're greeted by Molly. She gives us a little tour. I don't care about this place's side quests, get the passwords, and go back to Des for another speech. Once that's done, we check in with Z1 and Liam, and I now have to deal with a couple synth cards. Frost Breath does it, collateral damage included, no one's mad, and this is when Z1 tells me that I'll have to do a bit over half of the Institute's questline. Sean's first task is for us to go get one of the escaped synths back. Desdemona is so interested in rescuing synths that 1. She has no data on how harmful memory wipes can be. There's a really good example in Far Harbor. And 2. She has absolutely zero interest in going after synths that go rogue after said memory wipes. So, you know, just another example of Desdemona being so stuck in her good intentions and ideology of love that she becomes blind to the practicalities of the world. Rescue them all, give them a new beginning, and hopefully someone else will show up to clean any potential mess. In Libertalia, we pair with X688 to go after Gabriel. And atop the ship, X6 gives us the code to reset him, making this truly a battle for the ages right there with Alduin, Lord Harkon, and Karstag. I also don't know why the reset codes are so long. Dude just stared at me as I read an entire book.
B592, initialize factory reset, authorization Gamma 71 Epsilon.
His buddies are baffled that he was hypnotized. I sent them flying and that broke everything. X6 wouldn't relay back with Gabriel, so I just reloaded. Used Frost Breath, that did it, and Father's got another task, to go free another 4 synths in Bunker Hill. Now, that's Railroad territory, and an operation of great value to Desdemona and the others. Naturally, I went back to inform her. She asked me to mess up the Institute's plan to recall them, and sure, we'll give it a go. Near Bunker Hill, X4 explains the mission. No one attacked me even though the battle was going strong, and I just had to keep on running while being careful about the turrets. At the end, we see the 4 synths, and I tell them, you're all free to go. It's a bit complicated out there, but go on, walk away. Mind the Brotherhood Knights and the synths though, and speaking of synths, X4 isn't too pleased. And so an unrelenting force and plenty of frost breaths later, and I can't. It's impossible for me to kill him. He simply won't perish to the shouts. And I wasn't about to give up easily either. I brought him to near the railroad agents by the turrets. The fucking synths weren't happy to be caught in the area of effect of the frost breath, and so 20 minutes later, X4 was finally making me give up. Fine, hell, if I knew that things would have gone this way, I would have just used the codes on them to begin with. Every single one of them just stood there, as they saw the others get powered down. X4 relayed them, I went for a jog, met Sean on a rooftop, and he sees a world that's not even worth rebuilding. My boy's been black-pilled into being a doomer. If only he had an army of sense and basic knowledge on how to make cement. But no, he then insists that we're part of the Directorate's meeting. We attend.
But what exactly is he doing here?
Everyone's snarky about me being there, as if it had been my idea, and he goes on to reveal that the Institute's in need of power. nuclear power, because they want to keep on clanking these clankers while having lights on as they shower. Oh, and Sean says he's got cancer too, and that we should become the next director. Nice. Well, the second part is nice, the first is just depressing. To get the beryllium agitator, Ali offers to tag along, and so we're off to the mass fusion building. I just had to use Become Ethereal to get the ID card for the elevator. Our ghastly aura fooled me once again after the effect went out, but second time was the charm. Going down the elevator, much like running around until I found the switch to keep going, was more of the same. I grabbed the hazmat before going into the nuclear reactor, got the agitator, used the room to rage bait the sentries, spammed the assaultrons, and ran back to safety. Ali's happy, Sean's got more work for us to do, and so near Grey Garden, we are to convince the scientist to join the Institute. He refused.
Hey, just calm down.
So Enrico called up a synth, and they put him to sleep, literally. He'll wake up just fine, he'll even agree of his own volition to work with them. Back to Sean, and we are to prepare a speech to be transmitted to the entire Commonwealth. The Institute will get out of the shadow and introduce themselves. Obviously, I chose the worst possible answers, because some sound so evil, and Sean's got so little pushback to it, that's comical.
Well, that was interesting.
I just misrepresented everything he stands for, and he's like, well, that was interesting. At least throw me in. I can't say that I'm not for fear tactics, but I do hope you know what you're doing. Oh well. In Diamond City, Travis doesn't even acknowledge the presence of a stranger tinkering with Diamond City Radio. Nice one, Todd. And yet another speech later, we are to make the honors. Sure, buddy. You're the one with cancer, and I'm the one risking handling hazardous materials. Then, we are to hold the first directorate meeting with its new director, ourselves. Finally, we're in control. We can make the Institute do our bidding. We can tell them to stand down, to free the synths, or not. Not really. But we can choose whether we want more synths, or equip the ones we've got with better weapons, and that's it. Oh, and before the other directors leave their chairs, a synth shows erratic behavior. By showing up to a secret meeting? When I showed up, everyone was rolling their eyes. When a robot janitor suddenly decides to become a robot courier, no one bats an eye.
I'll go right now.
Anyways, it's finally time. We went as far for the Institute as we needed, and so it's time to go back to the railroad. Especially because the Brotherhood's on their way to annihilate them. Desdemona didn't throw a speech for a change. We got there in time, and I just did to the Paladins the exact same thing I did to the sentries in Mass Fusion. On the way to clear the catacombs, glory's seen more glorious days.
They're supposed to be a light.
Yeah, shining on these nuts. The initiates go on to advance to Haven, which to them must be hell because they won't be able to hoard tech. And after the defense, we go on the offense. First, we're gonna steal a vertibird. Then, we're gonna use it to board the Bridwin. Tinker Tom joins the fight. I freeze perfectly good tuna cans that were expecting nothing but room temperature. And in the roof, we get the vertibird. But we're not moving. So I was bored and decided to use the minigun on a thingy that explodes, because at least I got to see an explosion. If you think that's against the rules, feel free to let me know how you feel in the comments. Turns out we're not moving because reinforcements came for the Brotherhood. And we need to destroy their vertibird before ours takes flight. For a second I was worried I'd be forced to use the minigun, but no, I just had to hop off. Frost Breath for the Paladins. I did try Fus Ro Dah on the vertibird to see what would happen. It was a bit underwhelming. And so I just used the attacks that actually make damage. They could have crashed a bit farther away. Jesus, look at my health. And then we go for a really long ride until the Bridwin. Tinker Tom, who's never flown a vertibird, manages to perfectly attach the vertibird to the Bridwin. I used the Brotherhood disguise he gave me as if this game used faction armor, and intended to make a beeline to our objective, but Lancer Captain Kells interrupts us. He doesn't realize that I'm not one of them. Ignores that Knight Owens, the guy in charge of the vertibird we just stole, isn't here to do the debrief himself. I failed the speech check, say sorry sir, it won't happen again, and he does nothing. With the path clear to install the 3 explosives, I just do exactly that. After the first one, everyone and their grandma instantly aggroes. Good thing we've got the Become Ethereal Shouts. Unfortunately, when I made it back to the vertibird, the guards on the deck destroyed me right after its effects worn off. Oh, and I cannot use shouts while I'm in the vertibird. Not to become ethereal, not to attack, nothing. As we're about to be doused in fire, flame, and hell, I don't have that many stimpaks either. And I can't use the minigun, so this one's gonna be fun. As for the deck, I just had to obliterate those guys. If they're not there, they won't be firing at us, but that was the easy part. Cause Tinker Tom just circles around every single Brotherhood member in the ground. Good thing I had a few Nuka-Cola Quantums, and at least we get to see possibly the best explosion in the entire game. And we just kept on circling their entire base a bit more. Sure, pulling up to the Pridwin and figuring out how to perfectly connect, it's okay. Tinker Tom is a genius. Then this happened. Either he's a closeted suicidal masochist, or the Mentats weren't off and it took him a minute or 3. And now we go after the Institute, nuking for peace while unleashing the Commonwealth's future overlords. All cause Desdemona decided to become an empath. Incompetence and short-sightedness will rain down on the Commonwealth, and grant it a much worse future than the Institute as the de facto villains of the game would ever do. And man, that fits an evil run perfectly. After taking care of the guards, Z1 relays Desdemona and the others into the Institute. She gives me a fusion pulse charge so we can Johnny Silverhand this bitch. And don't mind me, cause I'm just gonna use Become Ethereal until we're out of the old wing and into the atrium. The Corsairs and Synths didn't stand a chance. Tinker Tom unlocks the elevator. I use the terminal in Sean's room to start the evacuation protocol and to end the lockdown. And I thought about cryogenically freezing Sean, but that didn't work. All we can do now is tell him GG and press F. And Relenting Force also did nothing, so I made a decision. I punched him, and I did not beat Fallout 4 using only shouts. But I did keep going, running to the reactor as an ethereal being. Got teleported back to the entrance, told Tinker Tom that I'm not gonna be adopting a toaster, and that much like the Corsair chip, I got the data, they can keep him.
Didn't see that coming.
And as I'm about to press the big red button, some random synth got teleported and attacked us. Frost Breath took care of that, and can you beat Fallout 4 using only shouts? Of course you can. As always, remember to check the playlists for more challenges and the channel for more videos. If you want to help me out, click that like button, leave a comment. You can also join as a member to support these. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Steve Whittle, to John Walker, and to Glitchdale for their support of the channel. And to you, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I'll see you on the next one. And I hope you have a good one. Bye.
I can feel it wash over me. War never changes.